Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Comic Book Nostalgia. I'm CB Nostalgia, and we have a little update on Ms. Marvel from Kevin Feige. Well, as many of you know, the next big Marvel project we're actually going to get to see is the Ms. Marvel series that's coming to Disney+. We've actually gotten 2 trailers now, and these trailers have finally put on display Ms. Marvel's powers. Now, many of you may have noticed that these powers did actually change a little bit from the comics. And recently, the man, the myth, the legend, Kevin Feige talked a little bit to Empire magazine about the changes and exactly what they're doing in the series. Now, the first teaser trailer made it pretty clear her embiggening powers have changed, and it really did give us a sort of Green Lantern-like overhaul of how her powers work. Apparently, there was a pretty good reason for this that Feige dives into, and I have to say I do agree with him. Now, this does seem like a pretty good time to tell you guys to hit that like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. Also, our big giveaway, don't forget we're giving away this Oculus Quest 2 at 50,000 subscribers. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment. Every comment gets you an entry. Well, like I was saying, Kevin Feige does dive into why they changed the powers from the comics. And he makes a statement here that seems like a giant duh, but many people totally don't grasp this. This is what he had to say. We adapt the comics. It's not an exact translation. Kamala came about in a very specific time within the comic book continuity. She's now coming into a very specific time within the MCU continuity, and those two things didn't match. What we will learn about where those powers come from and how they come about it is specific to the MCU. You will see great comic splash panels in some of our action sequences. If you want big, giant hands and arms, well, they're here in spirit, if not in stretchy, plastic type ways. Now, there's been a ton of theories about where her abilities may have come from and how they've been tweaked to fit the new origin story. Remember, in the comics, she's actually an Inhuman and got her powers from the Terrigen Mist. Feige does confirm in the same interview that the powers won't be fully explained in the show and will continue to be addressed in the upcoming Marvels movie. He said, "It taps into the future of her story as it connects to her friends that she will meet in the upcoming film The Marvels. She's interested in knowing, great, what does it mean? I'm an Asgardian? Did I get hit by gamma rays? No, it seems none of those things. It goes to her past and her heritage and her lineage." Now, I think all of this is pretty important, and when you think about what Marvel Studios does, it makes a lot of sense. Now, I think I totally get what Kevin Feige is trying to say here. Obviously, Kamala Khan came along in the comics after long-established characters inside the Marvel Universe, hence her powers looking very, very similar to Mr. Fantastic. Where she came along in the MCU is a completely different story, and the fact they're putting her over a greater Captain Marvel umbrella means her powers need to align properly with that. Quite honestly, Carol Danvers and Kamala Khan teamed up in the comics is quite the power differential, and I think for storytelling purposes it's probably a good idea. Now, that's not to say when you journey away from comic book origins, there's not a sincere danger. People often fall in love with these characters for a very specific reason, and their origin stories often encompass those reasons, so when you change that up, you have to be really careful. Now, obviously you can purely maintain the spirit of that origin and it might actually work. But often this can break the character, and fans sometimes react very negatively. Obviously, we're going to have to wait and see the series to figure out what they're doing with Ms. Marvel, and I do trust what Kevin Feige generally decides on this stuff, so obviously we'll be giving it a chance, but let's be really clear. There is an inherent danger anytime you change up the comic origin of any of these characters. Hopefully it works, but we'll have to wait and see. So what do you guys think? How do you feel about Kevin Feige's statement about the changing of Kamala Khan's powers for the upcoming series? And does it feel like they're keeping true to the spirit of the character that was so popular in the comics? Sound off in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.